Good afternoon and welcome to this week's edition of Kenny's Two Pennies. The thing is, for my first thing, I got one thing to say. Syracuse didn't lose, but they didn't win either. Gotcha. 'Cause you know something? Syracuse had their bye this past week. And a good bye it was indeed. Oh, no pun intended right there. But the truth is, Syracuse had to take time to figure out where they're going with the football team. Whether we're going to stay with Maroon Ball or what we're going to do the rest of the season. Because you know what? Ever since we beat West Virginia last year, Maroon Ball has sucked. Well, let's just take a look at this coming week's game, shall we? Friday night, Pittsburgh invades the Dome for the first game of our last year in the Big East Conference. And also the first game, or I should say, they've already had a conference game, but the truth is, this is their last year in the Big East Conference. Because next year, Pittsburgh and Syracuse will play in the ACC. And that's pretty good, Pittsburgh's always been one of Syracuse's main rivals. And I look forward to seeing how we do in the ACC. But I just got one thing to say if we lose Friday night in the Dome. To quote Pitt's coach, "Oh, Christ." And of course, Pitt has to wonder about their coaching carousel. Spin your tops. They've been through, about 4 coaches in the past year and a half. Because, they had a coach with Graham last year who wanted to open up the offense. Use that spread, which seems to be all the rage in college football. But, Christ has gone back to the bread and butter of what Pitt football has been all about. Using that hard-nosed approach, the two-back approach. Well, the truth is, I could give or take either one. I'm not too keen on the spread. I'm more the bread and butter smash mouth type. But Syracuse has got to find a way to make Maroon Ball work, or it won't be Maroon Ball anymore. It's going to be some other coach's ball. And the thing is, let's hope he doesn't drop the ball. Because you know what you get with Maroon Ball? Undisciplined lineup for the offense. I've never seen so many false start penalties with Marone being coach as I have when Tricky Dick was the coach or when Paul was the coach. But whatever, let's hope this is the start of the next phase of this season for the Orange. We gotta get it in gear, Syracuse. It's our final Big East season. Let's make it count. And speaking of football, how about them Buffalo Bills? That's, I think, what you'd call a Western New York cheer. Better than a Bronx cheer, I think, although you think you need a bigger raspberry. Oh, I'd call it a strawberry myself. But we could have stepped on New England's neck this past week. If Spiller hadn't fumbled driving for the end zone, that it could have almost been a 28-7 game on Jones's touchdown reception. But you know what you get when you get the Patriots. Belichick and Brady seem to open it up. And you give them a chance, you let them off the hook. The way New England was all over the field, it was just like a video game that second half. Boy, I felt like it was Space Invaders. Without the doon, 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 or Galaxian. Bad sound effects for video games from the 80s. But that was just like a video game the way the Patriots scored. Bing, bing, bing. 45 points there in the second half. 45 points in one half. Where was Dave Wanestedt's defense? Well, they must have taken the afternoon off. You offense has done your job. Now we're going to take the rest of the day off. We're going to be evil, smoke, drink like everything. Hey, you don't take the half off against the Patriots. 52-28. Ugh. I almost felt like doing a Denny Green there. Well, some neat little sound effect, don't you think? Well, of course, that wasn't part of it. I could have done a Denny Green there. The Patriots are who we thought they were. They're who we thought they were. I mean, we don't talk about it like it's bull. You know, make no mistake about it. The Patriots are who we thought they were. And we let them off the hook. Now go ahead and crown them. And crown their ass. But the Patriots are who we thought they were. Get back here, you Mike. You alright? I think so. Well, enough of me ranting about it, because you know what? We got another team for the Bills to worry about. It's San Francisco this coming Sunday. We travel out there to the Windy City by the West Coast, or the city by the bay, the city that never sleeps, as Starship sings and we built the city. And I mean, the 49ers are one pretty darn good team. Alex Smith seems to have risen from the ashes like the phoenix there, because, you know, everybody gave him up, left him for dead. New coach comes in, and he has Alex Smith playing pretty darn good. You gotta wonder what Colin Kaepernick's thinking there, the backup quarterback for the Niners. He thought he'd be starting now. Oh well, Mr. Smith is doing the job right now, Mr. Kaepernick. But let's hope Buffalo can get back on the winning track, shall we? Let's be 3-2 and let's take these 49ers to task. As you know, they're looking for a little gold. But you know, they're going to be looking for pyrite after the Bills are through with them. Now, let's get to number 3. And number 3 is the refs are back. The real refs. Because, I mean, I was like all the fans here in the NFL. I was sick and tired of seeing what these scab refs were doing. Especially that horrendous call between Green Bay and Seattle there. Because, you know, Golden Tate first pushed off, and then he jostles around for the ball, and it sure looked like Green Bay picked it off. Of course, I can say one thing about the Green Bay defenders. What should you do when there's a Hail Mary pass coming your way? Knock it down. Don't pad your stats. Don't go for the interception. Knock it down. But of course, that DB had to get greedy. And of course, Golden Tate was reaching in at the same time. But you know, you see one ref signal touchdown, you see the other ref signal completion. And I mean, after a few minutes, they gave the touchdown to Seattle. And you know, that was highway robbery of the biggest kind. And it turns out one of the refs there was kicked out for misconduct in the lingerie football league. Lingerie misconduct. Must be he was taking a bra top off. Because you don't know if he's going to be hit by an innocent boob, if you know what I mean. Well, enough with those. But we get to number 4. Soccer. Supposedly they're calling it the world's game. Oh yeah, soccer's the world's game. World's game, my foot. As I'm going to say in my next segment, it's just a reason for fans to riot. Because, you see highlights of the games like from Great Britain, like from Italy, or anywhere else in the world. And what do you see? The hooligans there who've obviously had a few too many beers. Or maybe the British having a few too many Newcastle Brown Ales. Getting a little there in the stands and fighting. Even fighting with the bobbies. Because, you know, some of those British police officers don't carry guns. So they take out their billy clubs and tell them to stop. Or they're going to say stop again. But I mean, you see some of the fans doing what they do. You see fans streaking across the field, and I mean streaking, because they don't have any clothes on. Or you see how they pelt people with debris, pelt the refs with debris. And I mean, they'll throw anything out onto the field. You know, soccer, world's game, right. Just an excuse for fans to riot. Of course, they're trying to build up the popularity of soccer in the United States. Of course, you know what you do if your wife doesn't like the game. You sock her. And last but not least, let's talk about Iran, shall we? Boy, the last couple of weeks and all this posturing that Ahmadinejad has been doing. And I mean, 32 years ago, the United States and the world were watched transfixed, especially after the Ayatollah Khomeini and his followers ousted the Shah, took those Americans hostage, and held them until Reagan became president. All throughout 1980, we were transfixed. But I mean, what happened back then and what's happening now just goes to prove what I've thought all along. Iran is a rogue nation. And I mean, I just don't understand why the UN and other countries can idly sit by and watch Iran flagrantly violate all the rules of humanity, and especially all this stuff Ahmadinejad is spewing, saying that Israel should be wiped off the face of the earth, and the same way ranting about the United States. All he is just a blowhard, and a blowhard that needs to go. As I mean, look at what he did with the UN session. I mean, he addressed the UN with all his semantics on the same day that is the holiest day of the year for Jews, Yom Kippur. What a slap in the face to all Jews, and all Christians for that matter, and especially to Israel, on the holiest day of the year for Jews. I mean, also the same thing, going back to what I said for my fourth thing about soccer. There was a match in Iran where a fan tossed something on the field and a player picked it up and just tossed it off the field because he thought it was a piece of debris, and then it went ba-boom. That fan threw a grenade on the field. Boy, it's really something when you got Iranians throwing grenades on the field. Sounds typical, don't you think? And also, like I said, it's just an excuse for fans to riot. Boy, I tell you who needs to have a grenade thrown at him or something. And I'm not advocating anything. But I mean, somebody needs to do something. As I mean, we've had enough of Ahmadinejad's lies. Well, thing is, I think I went too far. If my producer wants to edit it out, go ahead. But that's how I feel about Ahmadinejad. And that's the end of my show this week. I think I better close it on that note. I'm Ken Haas. That's my stories for this week. And please, forgive me for advocating anything.